So hello Rocky Outcropticians, welcome back for another look at Ethereum. And we're looking at Ethereum today on, of course we've got the BitMEX chart up behind me, but we'll take a couple of seconds to look into the definition of a descending broadening wedge, since I've got one drawn on there and I said in yesterday's video that we would take a look at it today. So let's dive on into the charts and figure out what we can figure out. Welcome to the show. Hi, so we're not quite back in my charts yet, but we're looking at this website called learncryptotrading.co and I decided to give a sort of shout out to a random website and see if this one will work for us. Now I've not read it yet, so I hope that it does, but it might turn out to be rubbish, who knows. Let's take a look. I thought, I could have gone to Investopedia or whatever, but where's the fun in that? So here's a random website, and I think if we look here, can see a list, right? Okay, so there's jumping out at me, descending broadening wedge, right? We can see it here, a descending broadening wedge. We've got that sort of a look to the chart, and if we look over here, well, maybe we've got something like that on the go. So we've got this here, and it's a mid-list performer found often with upward breakouts in a bull market. So we've had an upward breakout of in this bull market here so far over this year so far. So that's kind of tying up with that definition. Volume pattern is also different from falling wedges. Okay, this isn't a wedge. I guess it means in terms of like ones that come together. This is one that broadens. So it's the other way around. So the descending broadening wedge formation, the volume tends to increase over time, but with falling wedges, like narrowing wedges, it decreases. So broadening wedge. So let's look over here and see. I'm on the weekly. It'd be better on the daily. Now it looks more like it, doesn't it? And the volume, is it increasing over time? Well, it's not increasing over time really, but if we look here to here, it's not much of a drop off, and we can see that over the sort of the moving average that I have on the volume, the average line here, well, it's still going up. So I suppose we're not excluding ourselves from that. The average rise is a very high 46%. The most likely rise is 20%, and an astounding 40% of the formations have gains above 50%. With bullish numbers like these, it makes the failure rate seem tolerable. Okay, so thanks learncryptotrading.co. The other trading websites are available. I don't know who made this one. I don't know if it's any good or not. It's not too bad so far though. What most technicians agree, the rectangle can serve as rectangle. Are we looking at something else now? Rectangles. All right, that's all we're getting out of here. Right. Okay. So let's just then go back over here and say, well, look, okay, maybe this is a descending broadening wedge. Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe this will just be a consolidation pattern, and we'll return to the prevailing trend, which I think is what that was trying to get at there. So maybe we will. Maybe we can see that there's a potential for upside here for us on this asset, and that's quite good. Should we just check over here for clarity's sake if you could say the same thing about Bitcoin? I think you probably could. So here's a quick shout out for anybody who's watching all of my videos. Here's a supplemental to the Bitcoin technical analysis. I think we've been kind of aware of this anyway as a pattern. So just bear that in mind, that this works both ways. So yeah, I'm sure you could do some sort of measured move off of the back of all this and all the rest of it, but really, what have we got it on here for? Well, we're just trying to point out the fact that despite the fact that we're in a downward trend here, we clearly now, and we're making lower lows and all the rest of it, that there is still actually, no, I take all that back. We're still not actually put in a lower low yet. So, well, there we go. We're not quite in the downward trend yet, and we've still got this. Of course, compared to the previous lows here, you can see that we've got a downward. This low here is lower than this low over here. Sure, fair enough. But the last low really on the daily is actually over here. So you'd be looking for the prices to go and actually close below our blue line here at 221 in terms of having looking for that further on downside price action. So in yesterday's video as well, we were talking about 221. We didn't want that to break. If it did break, then we'd be looking down here, of course, towards the 211 area and beyond in terms of prices, and we could even go down as far as the 190 and things like that. And what's happened is it came down here and offered up a great entry for anybody, and I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice, for anybody looking to long it up here. And of course, these two areas, the 221 and 211, provided great exits for anybody who's been shorting it down from the top side of this broadening wedge. What can we expect here? We've had a couple of touches off off the bottom of it. You could think to yourself that potentially, of course, there's more opportunity for downside. Maybe we'll test down this area again, but then potentially we'll also go up and try and aim to test at the top area, in which case there'd be a heck of a lot of profit taking targets along the way anyhow. For instance, if you just take out the ruler and do a measurement, if you did get in at the bottom there and you're to be taking profit right now, well done to you, you're already up 8.9%. If you were then to just say get in and around the 221 area and to be taking profit at the next clear area of 240, then you would be taking a full 10%, pretty much, almost 9 point something percent. Indeed, if you just went as high as 230 from 221 and took profit just now, then you're getting a solid 5% on your move. So there's a lot of good trading potential out there, really. And so the numbers to be aware of currently are 221, 211. Then, you know, of course, there's going to be a lot of I think if you've been trading Ethereum for a while, then you'll know that in and around that 200 level, it could be anywhere. You know, you could be looking at 198, 195, like we've got the Cyan in here, or you could be looking up here where the 50 is at 205, you know, 204. Where you would actually find the resistance there, the support, sorry, is questionable. But we could use our broadening wedge, I suppose, as a target for us. I suppose we should maybe make it a little bit more accurate in that sense then, and say, well, if the prices were to come down here over the next day or two, you could be looking down to 203, 201, and you'd be a little bit greedy potentially if you were trying to get in on a turnaround trade there with manageable risk if you're waiting until as far as the 190s or the 195 area, because they can see the wedge line down here going down like that. But you know, it is debatable whether or not that's an accurately drawn on wedge, and whether we should just be using the bodies for this instead, in which case wicks can go anywhere. So anyhow, thanks very much for tuning in. That's going to do us for today. I think we've covered everything we need to cover, and as well, yesterday's video sums everything up nicely too. So if you want to check that out, then you can, and probably it'll come up next on the playlist or whatever if you're watching that. So thank you so much for joining up to the channel. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say a big thank you to all 115 subscribers so far. I am over the moon. Thank you so much for basically giving me a vote of confidence and telling me that this product, these videos have got some value to them, and that's really heartening. So thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one, or indeed in the Bitcoin Tezos or Chainlink video, which I'll also be putting out today as well. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.